Dating a medical student. I have a question about dating medical students. I am currently dating a medical student and I understand that med students are busy. But because they are so busy, I do 100% of the cleaning, 100% of the cooking, 100% of the groceries, drive them around 100%, and they only pay 50% of most, not all, of shared expenses, because he has no money. I can't even remember the last time he spent money on me besides Valentine's Day, where he bought flowers, complained about the cost, and made me pay for half of the dinner because med students are broke. He says that because he is in school I have to step up to be a good partner and support him, and when I ask him for something small like mopping or putting the dishes away, he is always too busy to do so. Dates are very rare. I just find it hard to believe that med students date and treat their partner like their maid, and say that if you're a good partner you'll support them. I'm going off to law school in Sept and I'll be busy too. Is this actually the case? Is he just being lazy? Would you stick with a partner who is trying to obtain a professional degree but makes you do 100% of the work to support him/her? I understand I have to make sacrifices because of their schedule, but I don't think it's realistic for me to put 100% and he puts in nothing, except 50% of shared expenses. At least treat me out to dinner once a week for what I do. At least acknowledge what I do. I just feel used and I can be treated better, and he's leaning on medical school as an excuse to do 0%. It is not fair of him to expect you to give 100%, and I can tell you that you will not be able to maintain this while in law school. I'm an attorney. Sounds to me like he wants less of a girlfriend/partner and more of a live-in housekeeper. You should to express to him that this isn't working for you and you do not feel valued or appreciated. Sounds to me that he wants a mom plus, if you know what I mean. He's probably going to break up with you after he graduates. I looked for this comment. I have a friend who put her boyfriend through pharmacy school. At one point she was stressing out about his loans and asked me for advice. I gently told her that maybe she should focus on her own debt first. A few months before graduation he dumped her and started dating someone else from his program. He also screwed her over on the car they had bought together. Just because he's busy don't mean you have to work like a slave, be the maid and chef, then accept the bare minimum. If he's that busy then maybe he should date after med school. If he can't afford to date he shouldn't be dating. He sounds like he's using you, because you do everything. He benefits from that and you don't. I married a first-year med student. We've now been married for 10 years, together through med school, residency and now fellowship. We were tight in medical school and even now we aren't well off, but he has always made an effort to give gifts and save up for dates. We have been saving for a trip, if things improve with COVID, for our 10th anniversary. We have always shared housework since we married, as I was also getting my degree. My husband would listen to a lecture while washing dishes, etc., but he always did his best to help. Your partner is taking advantage of you. What would he do if he couldn't rely on you? I know plenty of single med students who managed to do their own basic chores/housework! It doesn't sound like the current situation is working for you. I would tell your partner as much. That either something needs to change or that you need to walk away. Him being a med student with a girlfriend means he is less busy than he will be without one. Without a girlfriend he will have to prepare his own meals, his own cleaning and maintenance. The amount of time he could be spending with Op is time he will have to spend on general chores of being an adult anyway. He has more time now than he will end up having without Op. It's best for Op to leave the relationship, but provided Op wants to remain in the relationship, then pointing out the above may be a smart tactic if approached tactfully, as making him realize how much of an asset she is will incentivize him to put some focus into the relationship. How do other medical students keep themselves clean, fed and alive? I get he's got little money, but all the other crap? He's using you. Yourself first, especially when you are young and don't have children together. Get rid of him, concentrate on your future studies. My 22F neighbor, 3040s. Won't stop watching me when I leave and come home from work. Hi all, I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible, and I hope it's okay to post this here. Also, I live in California if that helps. I moved into my apartment in October of 2020. It's a pretty big complex with a lot of different buildings, and we all have either an assigned parking spot or a permit allowing us to park in one of the open ones. You have either or, not both, and it's one assigned spot per apartment. Since my roommate 19M is a guy, and he has the bigger bedroom, we agreed I could have the assigned spot so that I wouldn't have to walk alone in the parking lot late at night when I get home from work. My spot is right near the entrance and I park in front of two balconies. My issue is with the guy who lives in the balcony to my right. I'd say about 95% of the time when I'm either leaving or coming home, this guy will come and stand on his balcony and watch me. And no, it's not a coincidence or accidental. He blatantly stares at me, and he only comes outside when he hears me get in my car or when I'm pulling back into my spot. Sometimes he won't even come out and he'll just watch me from behind the curtain to his sliding glass door. And I can't be sure, but I think I've seen him take pictures of me on his phone. You know when people hold their phone a certain way like they're pointing it at you? I've seen him do that like 5 times now. My roommate and my friends have all seen it happen too. And my roommate says if he parks in my spot when I'm not home, which he can do without a permit sticker, you only need the permit sticker to park in an open spot. He says the guy will come outside, see that it's not me, and then go back inside. And the other day my roommate and I went out to the store to get something and he was walking in the parking lot. I pulled into my space and he just stopped at the entrance to the complex and waited, staring at us. We waited like 5 minutes till he went in, and then as we're getting out of the car he emerges from his balcony and continues to stare. Oh, and when I walk into the complex he leans over the railing of his balcony to watch me walk in. I already made a complaint to the building manager. I tried asking if it was possible to switch spots with someone so I didn't have to park there anymore, and she said no because there aren't any vacant spots. So I asked if I could get a permit sticker and she said it wouldn't be fair for us to have 2 stickers and a spot. She said the best she can do is call whoever lives there and try to talk to them about it and she would get back to me. However, he still fucking stares at me. So either she hasn't called or he just doesn't care. So I guess I'm not sure what to do at this point. I haven't talked to him myself because I'm, well, scared. He's like a 35 to 40-year-old dude, and he doesn't really seem like he's mentally there completely. I don't know if he might be on the spectrum or if he's schizophrenic just from seeing how he acts. I think he lives with a woman who could be either a sister or a mom, but I've only seen her like 3 times, so I'm not entirely sure if she lives there or just visits with him. What would you do? How would you handle it? I guess my biggest worry is he could become violent if I tell him off, or it could escalate to him following to my own apartment. He lives on the 1st floor, I live on the 4th, and I also have to walk past his apartment to get to the stairs. Yes, he has watched me from his kitchen window as well. Also, if he is autistic, I'm afraid my building manager will just give him a free pass to continue to watch me, because that's usually what happens. I used to work with autistic adults, and the amount of times I was sexually harassed by some of them and nothing was done about it was repulsing. I'd really take any kind of advice at this point. I'm just hoping to not escalate anything. At the very least, my roommate bought me a taser and I have pepper spray on me at all times, but obviously I hope that's the worst case scenario. Thanks to anyone who takes the time to comment, I'd appreciate it a lot. Unfortunately, as women, we often have to walk a very fine line with shit like this. I'm sorry this is happening. From a law enforcement standpoint, he's doing nothing actionable. It's not illegal to be on your property and watch people. He's not saying anything, he isn't approaching you. He's just being creepy. To your point, it's quite possible that he has something interesting going on mentally. Or, he's just a creep. I've dealt with a lot of creepy neighbors, and I think what I'd do is tape a note to their door. I wouldn't have a face-to-face unless you get approached. I'd say something like, "This is from the lady who parks in X slot. When you come out to your balcony and stare at me as I come and go, I feel very uncomfortable and unsafe. Please stop, else I will report to management and the police." Again, I'm not sure there's anything actionable here, but that doesn't mean it's okay. Video him each time he is staring. State loudly the date and what he is doing. State he is a creep and harassing you. Keep doing it every time. You need a paper trail. Absolutely this. And again, this post shows, ignoring does not work. Stand up for yourself immediately and forcefully against creeps. Yell at them. Be aggressive and savage and proactive as fuck. They don't expect it, and they will bow down. Don't ever show fear or intimidation. Be alpha against those omega losers. I'd record him openly and confront him about it. Try to talk with whoever he lives with. That shit is creepy and weird. Obsessions like this can turn dangerous. I'm just glad you don't live alone. Yeah, I'll have to start doing that. Thank you. I'll have to keep an eye out for the woman I think lives with him. I'm also glad I don't live alone, and thankfully my roommate is a pretty big guy. Sounds sketchy. I had a similar experience at a complex I lived in. A man in his late 50s or early 60s would watch me every time I came home until I got into the building. I worked at a bar, so I often came home late. I felt uncomfortable and talked to my landlord about it. Small complex, and he said that other women have mentioned the same thing to him in the past and that he had spoken to the gentleman and the gentleman's wife. Turns out he was looking out for the women in the complex and making sure they made it inside the building safely because he had a daughter who was attacked after a man followed her into her apartment building years prior. Turned out to not be a creepy issue in the end. That started out creepy but ended on a wholesome note. Poor guy and poor daughter frown. Wave and say hello when you see him, especially if he's curtain twitching. I'd also take out your phone and be very blatant about recording him watching you. Would your roommate feel comfortable knocking on his door and having a word with him? He could pretend to be your BF. I think my roommate would be willing to be there with me if I needed him to. Yes. I also have another friend who works with special needs kids who said she could help me navigate talking to who I think is his mum if needed. Some of the commenters suggested recording him or leaving a note, so I'm going to think about what approach would be best. Thank you. A work friend who used to have a crush on my BF told him not to tell me that they're hanging out. A mutual friend of ours at work used to have a huge crush on him before we started dating. Everyone knew. Then we started dating and she seemed really cool about it, but I could never help but feel a little jealous because they still are good friends who hang out a lot. But she asked him to drink with her, party drinking. They're planning to get fucked up at her house over the weekend and told him not to tell me. He told her that he already told me and she just said oh. So now I'm kinda freaked out. He says I'm just taking it the wrong way, but it's just really off-putting to me and I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. Invite them to your house. Alcohol tastes the same everywhere, I assume, as I have never drank before. P.S. Is he thinking about going to her house to get fucked up drunk in one-to-one scenario? I hope not. She's slowly trying to lure him in. It starts with a little indiscretion, don't tell her, and then continues on until she has something against him. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to tell her. Or maybe something else. At any rate, I do not go to men's homes and drink without my spouse. It's called respect. Nothing to do with trust. This comment really helped me. Thank you. The whole time I was very confused about whether or not I'm just jaded and am being overbearing or controlling and not trusting him enough. But you're totally right. It's not about trust. It's about respect.